it's a choice I made. I have two kids who go to school, and I really, they're with friends, and I'm mingling with the school crowd. And I am a person in my own way who's very uncomfortable with being extremely uh, glamorous on screen. It's from my younger days, it's not just now. But so those are the choices again I made of. I wanted the kids to be very proud when they come out of a film, and little things. I think you just have to meet the right man and feel extremely confident about the relationship, and that's what happened. I met him, and we both wanted to marry at the right time, have our babies, and somehow work never came in the way. I saw that as an advantage, where we are casting the middle-aged girls in an age-appropriate roles, which are age-appropriate. I mean, when you stand across a 50 or 60-year hero, your heroine has to be 40. She can't be a 20-year-old. So we started with a film where we both were struggling, which was Puvalam Ketupar.
Correct.
After that, after a few years came Kaka Kaka, which was our first commercial hit, and rather Suriya's first very big hit. So it was. In a marriage, you always have to be friends. That being friends, appreciation and respect is the backbone of a marriage, a backbone of any relationship. Dad's been, very good from childhood. That impact of having a good dad, he's been there. He's, just treated my brother and me the same way. Today, when my daughter and son, sit on a dining and eat, I think my son is also doing half her work, like maybe giving her a glass of water along with his. So I feel the equality at home, the way they've been. Dad's always taken, initially when I was young and I started, he taught me about my finances. He took care of that. Men have to give time, and Suriya gives time to the kids. We do have all our vacations. We put this list out every year of the children's holidays, and we've been doing this years.
Hello everybody, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Letters to My Dad. It's a show where we celebrate artists who have defined the path that they've chosen. Their choices have been celebrated and they have been career defining, not just for them, but for the women and the other actors who followed that path. She's inspiring, she's fantastic, and she's always been real. I'm talking about the very talented Jyotika. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I mean, I'm delighted. Like I said, I always wanted to do this. And I really mean what I said. I've realized that at every point, you have done what you truly wanted to and not listen to the noise around when it comes to actors. This is going to make you a bigger thing, this is going to be bigger. And which is very interesting. Fantastic roles being written and the choices have increased. You've done this at the time when there were not so many. I want to tell you, where did you get that resilience and that courage to still continue, and how was that phase for you?
It's always a battle, I think. As women age, it's always a battle, and I fought it. And the actual main guideline was choosing what I want to do, and that faith kept me on and kept me going. So I made my choices. I've lost a lot of big work, which I don't consider big, in my line of performance-oriented work. So it's just being part of big projects. So I have said a no to a lot of things. So I think it's majorly choices you make and where you see yourself and your comfort zone as an actor.
When you see your career, there are many of those points where you've chosen, and I feel like you've chosen it very purposefully, knowing that it's okay. Which was the first film you were very resolute about? This is the direction. I want roles and characters that are layered and that are going to be something in a film.
Yeah, so see, in my first innings also, when I worked down south, I did do films which were always had a role for myself. So that choice was a constant from the beginning. I never just came and danced around and went. But saying that, there was always a priority was, big actors' films, you have to be part of it. But I did choose my roles. Definitely in the second innings, which was after marriage, that's where I made a conscious choice. And my comeback film was called Muppatar Vaidinile, which was at the age of 36.
Yeah.
Which
36
Vaidinile, yes. So that's when, I decided to depict how the real life women are on screen. And that's something from my real life experience. I saw such strong women around me, and I thought, wow, this depiction is so wrong on screen. I mean, of course, we do have the glamorous and good looking and, the ones who want to be out there and I think they were more a perception of how men want women to be and not what they really are in real life. And I think it's that after marriage, meeting a lot of different kind of women made me realize, oh, this is lacking in back there. And luckily, there are a lot of people writing those roles, right? These roles are also written by men. So, it's just giving it your face and giving that subject the courage and the backing to come out. That's it.
I'm so glad we already brought up 36 Vednali because I was going there. I remember an event of this film, jahan pe I think on stage, you went, everybody was there, the whole family was there. I remember Suriya was on stage and how you were talking about the fact, how it meant to have someone like this believe in you, including the people who put up. And I remember you said that, there are still not enough films out there which are really putting female characters in the front. And you really seemed grateful because you knew that the choice mattered. I clearly remember you thanking the whole family, and you mentioned that, I have got so much support from Mama Papa, which is Surya's parents. I actually went and rewatched that event. It was so beautiful because you were so emotional. It was a defining moment for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of force behind you. When a woman has to get back to work with a toddler at home, and there has to be an entire force. Definitely, first it comes from your spouse. Where he's ready to take charge of half the situation, and then of course it's the extended family, even to the extent of the house helper. I keep her a lot in charge of, I'm indebted to her rather to have come back to work. She was my guiding force actually. She was my the wing, the wind beneath my wings. I flew because she was back there at home. So I think she was also her name is Devi. She was a very instrumental factor in me going out and working. So there's a whole big group of people behind the scene, but definitely family and husband. Yeah, that whole mindset of equality and I made my choices. I got back to work when I wanted to. I stopped when I wanted to. So he was always there for me.
Precisely why I wanted to go in this line of questioning, because there was a very sense of self-worth has always been there in you, but also sense of security. And in the field like this, it's not a common thing, because you're told so much, you're judged so much, and you're expected to look a certain way. I think you've always been that secure person looking at what she's doing than comparing herself to the others.
I think women, it's a tough battle. See, when women have to be praised for what they're doing. It is a male-dominated industry, and when a woman is doing a heroine-centric film, she puts in 10 times the effort a man does, because she's not getting the budgets to have she doesn't get a big director firstly. In South, it's still a bit rare for a woman-oriented film to be backed by a big director. We still have to break the ice, and that has to happen. But she does, there is no music director. Supporting star cast is almost always new because of the budgets. So I think she's a battle, the way she holds a film on her shoulders without that extra padding to the film. So I feel they have to be, you have to praise them for that effort. And it's very few ratio, very few women who come out and, then the success happens and, and they move one step forward with that. So definitely it's something you have to praise and clap and pat them on their back for.
I assume that this also comes from the fact that you had parents who were there, your mom and dad who were there, telling you that be what you are. And a lot of women don't get that at that house. I was in awe to see where you always told that I have been brought up with women or a father in the household who's always told me, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think that also instills confidence and also adds to who I see today a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It all begins at home, right? So we are 3 sisters and a brother, and I've always seen at a dining table, my brother's the last one to pull the extra chair and sit. It's never been a situation where all the men sat and then the women served, or the women came and sat last or ate after them. No, mom and dad have been very, very particular that the eldest gets the seat, and then the hierarchy goes on. But the boys have always been the ones who are doing the work. So that's how we are at home. And yeah, it was mom's backing absolute backing for me to get into films. It was certain, there was this phase when we were teens when we all listened to our parents.
Yeah.
Of course, now it's all changed. So we are listening to the kids also. But, so when they decided and she said, no, go for it. You've got an opportunity, go and work. So we listened and they made some choices for us. But definitely, I think the mother is quite a backbone of a family, and she, is in charge for her daughter, and she is the guideline for her when she really needs that one step forward.
I want to understand this because your father obviously was, he's a producer and all of that. You have that in the family, but you were doing something completely different before you came in here.
Yeah.
I want to know, did you know it? Did you know? Because you I mean, of course you've been around sets, you've seen that, but did you feel like that's the way you're going to go ever?
No, actually it was too early. I was all of 17 when I started, and I was giving my 12th standard boards at that time. And there was just suddenly an offer at home because we all belong to the film line, and my mom just said, why don't you just try your hand? And that's how it all started. And then, of course, the Hindi didn't run, and while doing the Hindi, I had just signed up a South film, and then that sort of took off, and so the journey just drifted and took its own path, but nothing was decided, nothing was planned. Even today when I look back, I'm like, oh wow, we've reached so far. It's just been a very strange journey also I've had. I've taken 6 years off, then I've worked again for 3 years, then taken 4 years off, then suddenly now this whole wave of Hindi, it's just taken its own path. Nothing has been decided or planned.
Which is so interesting. And about the break, right? In this industry, categorically you're told that you have to be seen, huh? You have to continue doing that. I always appreciate people who kind of have the ability to withdraw and be a little detached and say, I will make my own life decisions and I don't have to listen to others, right? And actors are always told that. You've actually taken those breaks whenever you want to. And I remember, and I thought it was unfair when I said that they've always decided saying, oh, because she's gotten married, she's not being able to do this. But knowing the person you are, I don't even think that can be questioned because you would not do it. So I want to know how that was for you, because I think a lot of actors would want to do that even today. Do themselves, not fall in the trap of, no, I have to keep on working to prove myself there. Will be inspired.
I think it's to be seen. I think what is actually being seen is not you going and having those extra dinners or going to parties. I think what's really being seen is what you're doing on screen and whether that's running. I think that's a very big factor.
Yeah.
So I think other than that, none of the others required. I mean, I've never done it and I've never felt the need, but everyone's journey is their own, right?
Sure.
I mean, mine, probably I was also very lucky to have that path, and it just fell into my kitty. Like, I feel suddenly 3 Hindi films have just come in and they've just fallen into the kitty. So I do credit luck a lot. But saying that choices, like I said, your choices, how you see yourself, and and I think it's only your work which speaks at the end of the day. When we're doing publicity and promotion for films, I'm like, kyun kar rahe? But it's only going to run if it's good. And I think 12th Fail as a film really proved that. It had faces we had not seen earlier, most of them, and just see what it's done. So.
But when you were taking those breaks at different points in your career, did you hear those typical questions that you should not be doing it, or are you sure you're doing it?
Yeah, always. It's always, it's at every point. Even today, after I'm back also, there is, they'll be like, why are you in this language and not in this? Why are you not doing this? The truth is, I'm doing everything. I'm just picking what's coming to me and what I'm liking. Language is no barrier. So there are always questions, especially after marriage. My kids were very young when I got back. So that was a big question mark. Are you going to leave a 3-year-old back at home? So definitely you can balance the situation. So I had my 3-year-old on the set also with me, and a lot of time kids have come on the set and done homework. A lot of time they've traveled with Suriya. He stayed back home. So we have this between both of us. One stays back home while the other goes to work. So we don't leave the kids, we just leave them back. So I think questions are always there, but I feel everything is possible for a woman to do. I mean, she's another name for multitasking. So
100%. Look at all the mothers around us.
Yeah.
In case of Shrikant, it's the teacher and the mentor, but you also look at him like a child.
Yeah.
And I feel like you also show the way you're supposed to deal and handle situations. And I think I assume that there is also a part of you as a mother which really wants others to see that, there will be difficult situations when you're reading scripts like, does that ever come into your mind when you're taking characters like that? Just an observation, and I thought it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think I'm more than the motherliness, I look at the strength in the character. And then the mother definitely comes in where there's strength.
Yeah.
So, but my entire focus is on how strong a woman is on screen, whether she's in 2 scenes or 1 in the entire film. So Shaitan, what attracted me was that she was not the mom who was nudging the husband and saying, kuch karo, kuch karo. She was more like she went and lashed out at the villain. And that would really happen in a real life situation. No mom's going to sit back there and wait for anything to happen to her daughter. And I have to thank Ajay for that. He gave everybody that space to perform and come in the forefront. So we also need, I strongly feel we need heroes. We need superstar heroes who actually have that kind of confidence in themselves and let the other actors take their space on screen. And I've been lucky to be part of such projects also, where the heroes have given, us that, put us in the forefront and given us that space also. But coming to your question, yeah, it's the strength in the woman which attracts me to the role. And I felt both Shrikant and Shaitan had that strength, even if it was matured, underlying, in its own way. I felt I saw a lot of the women I knew in those characters.
Very rightfully put, and absolutely strength in the characters. And also the choices are so different, and that is so important. I feel like it is, like we were discussing, it is an absolute delight to see the kind of roles that are being written for women right now. But I have to give a lot of credit to both Suriya and you for also having a production house that is also backing projects and presenting films like that. It's very interesting the kind of films you all choose to produce, whether it's Jai Bhim, we of course know, the national award winning, but there are other films, even though you presented Gargi, and that's one of my favorite films, Sai is somebody that I admire.
Wonderful. She's a fabulous actress.
And I love that film. And I realize, and many others, so there is a certain direction that you all want to go with. Both of you are massive names, you all have created massive spaces, but the fact that you all put all your power and investment behind films like this tells me a lot about the way you want to do and kind of contribute to the film industry.
Yeah.
Tell me your thought process behind that.
Like I said, there is, you just have to give the backing. There are a lot of small stories to be told, a lot of unsung heroes to be spoken about, and I think Shrikant Bolla is also one such unsung hero. We always tend to make films on the famous people, but there are a lot of stories to be told, and what is really required is the backing. The backing in any form, backing as a production house, backing as a superstar hero who's allowing others to take center stage. I think everything, backing of a big director trying to make films with heroines for a change, which we really need to come up with more directors directing for heroines, because so I think the backing is always required. It's the faith, the gut feeling when you make a film right, from your heart, from the core, then there's nothing which stops it. So that's what's required, and 2D, our production house, was based on that. We wanted to tell small stories, and then some of them, of course, we happened to be in them, and then but yes, Gargi was such film where we saw it and we were like, wow, this needs to be released. And some of it's sad, but some of these beautiful films are lying there waiting for a production house to release them, and some of the rubbish just releases on its own. Sorry for the thing, but comparison, but I think that film was so deserving of, and she was fantastic. The storytelling was fantastic. The direction, it was, and we are proud about it. We are so proud of the film.
How Jai Bhim as a film, besides the fact that it has absolutely brilliantly performed, directed, the scripting, everything, was such a defining moment in Tamil cinema as well, because there is right now also, even in Hindi cinema, there's a general belief that you'll have to go there in the screen if you want box office to work. There has to be that particular heroism and that beating and all of that, which is, of course, it has its own audience and it is great. And I think Jai Bhim made people believe. I remember when you went to get the award, you particularly thank the audience, and I realize why, because not always has the audience been kind to films like that, but I think there is that faith that both of you have been able to build. It's fantastic. What are your thoughts on it?
On Jai particularly, I think it broke a lot of cliches. Firstly, Surya came in for a brief role. You know, he came and played a part, of course, which was extremely important, but he played a part. It was led by a girl, Lijo Mol from Malayalam, and I think she was really worthy of all the awards that year. She was fantastic in that film. Like, I think one of the finest performances I have ever seen, you know, on Indian screen. It was so good. And so I think it broke a rule there. It broke, Surya's always breaking a lot of cliches though. Even his prior film Surare Potra, which won the national award, it was with a woman director. And you know, in South we hardly have or don't have at all heroes who worked, the top heroes who worked with women directors. So I think he was one of the first doing it. So I really respect him for that. And Jai particularly because of the content it had, because of giving center stage to a woman, coming just and doing your role. And so I think it's always a script, at least for Surya and me, it's always a script which drives us. And I always feel the hero of a film is the writing. And that's exactly why Malayalam cinema is so ahead of all the other languages right now, because the hero is the script and then they all play their parts. I've always been very intrigued by the fact that how a Mohanlal sir, and you know, who's one of the finest actors in the country, or a Mammootty sir, how they just come in and they just do their roles and walk out, and there are many others in the film. And you know, it's that kind of a maturity I think the other languages are yet to develop.
Mentioned that and brings me to Kathal, right? Of what a film. Congratulations on that as well.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think the amalgamation of people like this coming together also, I think the confluence of producers like this who believe in the story and actors who can believe it also, I think brings out these kind of true work of art.
Yeah, it's all a sense of confidence, right? Your confidence in your writing as a writer, as an actor, how confident you are as how good you are. So like I said, you can shine in 2 scenes, you don't need the entire script. So they all are, my God, they are maestros at their work, they're masters of the craft. I recently understood it thoroughly when I did Kathal with the Mammootty sir, and I realized, oh my God, everyone knows everything here, like, you know, you're coming in, playing your part and moving out, and they're just a cut above the rest. It's an experience I felt while working with them. Dialogues were just cut off. They're like, no, there's no need to talk this. It's understandable, and dialogues were just, you know, removed off the. In other languages, we have to speak more to make people understand. So I think it's the audience also. It's a wonderful audience out there which accepts everything and watches everything, and looks at a film very maturely.
You know, you just mentioned as to how, like, of course, Suriya was fantastic in Suriya Putra, but you know, in other films as well, and you've always said that. Suriya, I remember, had said somewhere about the fact that, you know, he was first your fan and he thinks you're a better
He always
actor
praises me,
than him. You know, anybody who tries to tell him otherwise, he's always defended and saying, I was a fan before, then I became her friend, and then I became proposed, and then I became the husband. But what a beautiful graph. I love that you all have both personal and professional, the energy that you all have been able to create is, I think, also kind of symbolic in the way of why you all are today so successful as human beings and as a couple. But tell me how you look at that statement of being a fan, then being the friend, then proposing and being the husband.
I think we were both fans of each other. We were friends. I did my first film in South with him, so the journey started back then. We were friends for 5-6 years. We started with a film where we both were struggling, which was Puvalam Kettupa.
Correct.
After that, after a few years came Kaka Kaka, which was our first commercial hit, and rather Surya's first very big hit. So yeah, it was. See, in a marriage, you always have to be friends. You know, that being friends, appreciation and respect is the backbone of a marriage, a backbone of any relationship, even if it's with your parents. So I think that's very strong in between both of us, and that's continued to stay so. And I think we both have supported each other throughout our careers. There's a healthy discussion. We are always, but he's always praising me. Like that's how he is. He's always he's a great husband.
And so are you, an absolutely fantastic woman.
I am, definitely.
And I think it's wonderful, because I also remember that, you know, when you shifted to Mumbai again, you know, they were all like, you know, there's something going wrong, you all are shifting it together. There is a very genuine sort of ease in the way you all make decisions also together, I feel. And because even he's kind of says,
Yeah, because I mean, it's not always what is spoken outside. I mean, we shifted to Mumbai for my parents, right? It was post-COVID, and they were keeping unwell, and I wanted to make the change for their sake. It had been 27 years I had stayed away from them and home and my relatives, and so it was just after COVID, all those inner feelings. No, I need some time with them, So that's the shift. And strangely, the work came after that. So I always say the universe works towards everything you think. And it was very sudden that the Hindi just happened to come. It came 3-4 months after I shifted. And that's when I started shooting also. So it was never because of work, it was because of the family ties and parents largely. But yeah, he's always supportive.
But like I said, exactly, there's that ease there. And because you mentioned family, you also said that she is even more accepting of my family than sometimes that I am. It was in that same event that I spoke to you about during Vayadinile, 36 Vayadinile, at the event where he said that, she's even sometimes I think more close to that.
Yeah, definitely I am closer to them because I spend more time with them after marriage. The men leave for work. So, I was home with them and they're lovely, and, the whole relationship, all the tips when you're having your baby and all the help, it's all from your mother-in-law, from your sister-in-law or your mom. So it was definitely a more deeper relationship than what he had because he was never home. And it's all, again, it's just all family, and they've been very instrumental in also me working. So they've also taken charge of the situation back home. So it's just all beautiful new relations you form.
The show is called Letters to My Dad, right? We also try to talk about the men who have been there. You've of course spoken about your father some time back. You've spoken about Suriya's dad. So I want you to tell me, how was that for you, and how it kind of impacts your life when you see that growing up.
So I think the men are equally important, and what is most important is that the equality they give the women at home and the way they treat them, because women are always, I think, are always right. They're always giving this space to the men more than required. So I think it's how the men treat the women back at home, and dad's been very good from childhood. That impact of having a good dad, he's been there. He's just treated my brother and me the same way. Today when my daughter and son sit on a dining and eat, I think my son is also doing half her work, like maybe giving her a glass of water along with his. So I feel the equality at home, the way they've been. Dad's always taken initially when I was young and I started, he taught me about my finances. He took care of that. The protection. I think everything comes from that gender. My father-in-law, he's dropped my kids to school. He never misses that chance. Suriya, he's just let me do what I want, work when I want to, and quit when I want. And he's just they've been great. They've made me feel throughout this journey that we're all equal. Luckily, I have not had the gender hierarchy issue at home at all. So I feel men play a huge part in just making the whole atmosphere feel absolutely normal.
Suriya said that of course you're a fantastic actor, but besides that you also ace at the mother game. And we've seen you also, when you talk about it, you've always been on stage and said that how much your children also kind of influence your life, right? You learn from them as well. Said that about you. How do you look at Suriya as a father?
Oh, he's 100 on 100. He's absolutely wonderful. He's there for the kids. He makes time. I think the biggest thing the men need to know today is that you don't need anything much more than time. Yes, definitely many outside are providing for the family, and the women choose to stay back home and take care of the home front, which I feel is a bigger task than going out and earning, since I've done both. But I think men have to give time, and Suriya gives time to the kids. We do have all our vacations. We put this list out every year of the children's holidays, and we've been doing this years, that these are the dates. We don't give dates to anyone, we don't shoot. This is the holiday time. We have to be together as a family. So he's there for the holidays. All their school emails, everything is directed to his phone. So he's in charge of the school work, and a lot of things. There's a lot. When I'm at shoot, he's even giving like the menu at home, what to cook, what. So he's a great dad. I mean, I think there is no difference in mom and dad. I am both to them, and he's both to them.
So you're the tough cop. The tough one.
Yes, always, yeah. I think the mom always is, but today probably as they're teenagers, both of us are. We both are guarding them with all our might. But yes, usually I think the mom is the one.
as mothers, you have been always, you have spoken also, I remember in interviews where you said that, of course I feel protective and there is that fear about the children. But you've also, I feel there is a sense of calm also, right, within you. How have you evolved into that? Because I'm sure there were initial guilt that you have of leaving the children, or because you're all trying to believe that you have to be perfect mothers. But what
Yes.
is perfect really?
I think just being happy is being perfect. And when you're happy, when you're happy, the whole atmosphere becomes positive, and it's largely depending on the woman, because her happiness, like I say, a mom is the backbone of a family, and her happiness just spreads around. So I think when she makes, again, going down to the same answer, the right choices in life which make her happy also, and not just giving her every piece to make the family a whole. I think she has to keep certain pieces together for herself also, and for herself to be a whole. So that not allowing yourself to completely break, and being just happy is what completes the circle. So I think in my case, I did feel guilty. Yes, I did feel guilty leaving my 3-year-old and going for my shoot after my comeback. But then I figured it out with my husband. I figured it out with the help at home. We balanced it out, and there was nothing wrong. It was in fact better. I saw my kids being more independent. They were doing their things by themselves, and we have to allow them to do that also, right? And today, when they're teenagers, we've calmed down a bit. We know that these are the lines you have to draw, and this, they can do this, they can't do this, and they follow the rules. They're independent today. They take decisions themselves which are right, because they have been given a certain independence as kids and allowed to judge themselves. So I think women, I think you have to fall, right? You have to hurt yourself to know that I shouldn't fall again. So it's important to fall, and I think all this happens when the women stop freaking about the whole situation and allow things to happen and just be happy doing what they need to do also.
I remember this place where I had seen both Nagma, your mom, and you there in the show, and the delight in her face and the pride that she feels. A lot of the confidence and the worth comes from your mother, isn't it?
Yeah, my mom's been a housewife, but there's something very strangely she's always told us, as like when I was a teenager, she said, do what you want, marry when you want, whatever. But marriage se pehle, please have your bank balance. This is what she constantly told us when we were kids. Yeah, and she said, have your bank balance, be independent financially, and then whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. And she made sure all 3 of us sisters are absolutely independent and working, and then we all settled down.
But this is such a fantastic advice to give, right? The fact that, because then when you eventually, which you eventually did, fall in love and choose the man, it will be for the right reasons. Because that person's, this entire idea of a man completes you is a little problematic, because if you're not complete yourself, isn't it? What do you think of it?
No, definitely. I think it just allows you to choose it. It's more than even choosing a person, that's something totally actually disconnected to this. This is just about you, your self-confidence, your rights to living the life you want, and it does make you very confident, when you have your own, and also to know your finances, to know how to, live in the whole big, bad world. It's very important to know where you stand. And I think, and then the spouse, I think it's a disconnected thing. We've just connected it to that he's going to be taking care of me, and
it's very problematic.
Yeah, so I think that's the best advice mom gave me.
It really adds to who you are, right? Eventually, when you come in the industry, people think it's okay to come and give you free advices. Women anyway get free advices, but people who are in the industry come and tell actors that don't do this stuff. What are the advices you did not take, and you're proud that you didn't take them?
Probably the only advices I got is like, why are you letting a big film go, or why you not into the this will get you into a bigger zone with the audiences and the fans, because the fans like their heroes, so they like their heroines. And so, but those were the advices I didn't take, where I said, no, I can't be in this film because I don't have anything to do in it. I don't want to be a part of a film which runs. I want a film to run because I'm a part of it also. So that's something, those advices I didn't. But otherwise, I think I was quite led to do my own thing. And that's the reason I've not worked for many years also in between. The gaps have come because I've just stayed back and said, after COVID, after 2 years, I was like, no, I'm not gotten back into the zone, and so I just let go. So not too many advices.
I think you also didn't care, like you didn't put in the
I know.
circle because I think you rarely went out also. Now to think of it, the actors have often said, oh, we were advised to like be a certain way and like you're not like be more glam and stuff like that. But you, I think I've realized also that you've been very beautifully able to protect your space and
Yeah,
be okay with not like having to play to the to the galley or
Yeah,
to
that's
the.
a choice I made, actually. Yeah, coming to that, no one really asked me about glam or not glam, but it's a choice I made. I have two kids who go to school, and I really, they're with friends, and I'm mingling with the school crowd, and I am a person in my own way who's very uncomfortable with being extremely glamorous on
Yeah.
screen. It's from my younger days, it's not just now. But so those are the choices again I made of. I wanted the kids to be very proud when they come out of a film, and little things. They're very protective, and it was just a self thing. Like again, no advices as such.
Sure.
It was just me from the very beginning who was not on that. I think it doesn't suit me also. So when you're not comfortable doing something, then it's just.
Because you said that, I was going to anyways bring it up. Can you tell me a few films of your and Surya's that you all have decided when they are 18? Because that time they can watch, they'll understand the films, but certain films are so, that you would definitely want them to watch from both his and your filmography.
Actually, ours, they watched all of them. Yeah, they watched our films. Yeah. We've done a film, where I played a blind girl and he played a hunchback character called Perargan. So there were a lot of beautiful films we've done together, actually. And they mostly watched all our films. And
is there a favorite that you've got, like the honest, because children are honest critics, I feel, right?
Yeah, they've liked our films separately more, actually, So they've liked his that and my this. They've liked his Singham. They've liked separate film. My daughters loved Mammootty. She loved that. She loved Chaitan, actually. She really loved it. So I think they've just had their own choices differently. But Kaka Kaka, I think, is one film which unanimously everyone just likes, both of us
including
together.
your fans, including me. I think all of us definitely do. But like you were saying, you were just talking about how you've been able to maintain who you were, and which is difficult. You've also done that in your personal choice. At that time, and I've spoken to people who've made a comeback and actors who are fantastic, and they've said that whenever they wanted to go and get married, I'm sure you've been through that stage, they were like, you're an actor, are you sure you want to go and get married? Career's going to get over and people won't accept you. You again have been very, you got married when you were absolutely at the peak of your career. I mean, people know this, but I want to reinstate that because it's believed that when people don't have choices, they get married, and people really say these things about actors. So I want to reinstate that you were at the peak of your career. You were absolutely fully getting all the accolades, and you just very quietly, and apparently you fell in love on the set of Kaka Kaka. I don't know if that is true.
No, much before that. Okay. So we were friends before that. So it was before that. But I think you just have to meet the right man and feel extremely confident about the relationship, and that's what happened. I met him, and we both wanted to marry at the right time, have our babies, and somehow work never came in the way. I mean, I think I'm telling you, my journey has been a total no thought process journey. It's just fallen into place. It's quite a fairy tale, actually. But it was just like, nahi, ye abhi karna hai. Gotten the right man, and it's largely how he makes you feel, right? And he made me feel very confident about the relationship, and so we just went for it, and we never gave so much of a thought to the whole process and what's going to happen after that.
So today, of course, like I said, there is a position, the safe space where you can come and say you have to, at any age or post marriage, doesn't matter, women also will get interesting roles, and you are now, right now, I mean, you are the example of that, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's what the choice is. Again, it's always the choices you make. You can come back after marriage very desperate to work, and you always, if you've been at a position, you do get offered films, and then you can be part of just the whole bandwagon and be going on for that phase of that 5 years and do well for yourself. Or it's the choices you make of that, no, I want to stay, I want to do my kind of things, I want to make a difference, I want to choose what's going to have an impact on people. So those are the choices I made, and I think that's where we need to make choices. We need to stand really tall and strong, and we need to understand and have a self-confidence and self-worth, and know that hang on, I'm a good actress and work will come. It will come. The only drawback which I saw was that there was not a space in the big hero films for elderly women middle-aged. So that's something, that's a flack you face, where I feel OTT and probably today in Hindi I saw that as an advantage, where we are casting the middle-aged girls in an age-appropriate roles, which are age-appropriate. I mean, when you stand across a 50 or 60-year hero, your heroine has to be 48. You can't be a 20-year-old. So, so we did. So that is a change I saw in this phase, which was beautiful. So I think that's a space I was missing when I was working, because I was playing a crusader. I was taking my films forward. I was doing women-centric films, as they are called. I was playing the protagonist. They were running, but I didn't see myself in a big film with a big hero in a good space, and that's something I was really looking out for. I did get some films, but they were not with the good roles, right? So those are the big ones you have to turn down. So I feel that space has got completed now. I feel very good, the kind of roles offered in Shaitan or Shrikant. I felt they were very powerful, and even for that matter of fact, even Janki in Shaitan.
Of course.
She was like, it was a very powerful role for her too. So these are the spaces we want to fill in also, along with doing our our own headline films.
This is my last question before I come to my last segment. Like I was discussing about the production house and the kind of films that you all have been supporting, I want to know what is there in the radar that's coming up for the fans. A little bit on that. That you can talk about, I know, with the official. I know, of course, Kanguva, I saw the trailer, I mean, but that is one thing of Suriya that I know is coming up and everybody's excited about.
As a production house, we are venturing into Hindi with Sarfira. And so that's something coming up. Down south right now we finished a film with Karthi, who's Surya's younger brother, of course, very well known.
Of course.
And so in fact today is the title announcement in the evening there. And Surya's just had started his own project with the director Karthik Subbaraj, which is again going in next month on floors. As far as I'm concerned, I have just finished a web series with XL Entertainment called Dabba Katal, with the very legendary Shabana Azmi ma'am. Yet again a good podium, good actors I'm sharing screen space with.
Tell us a little on that as well.
So that's I can't really reveal the story
Exactly.
much, but
whatever you can.
But it's with 5 extremely talented women that I'm sharing stage, and it's very exciting. There's something I think coming out this year, end of this year, and again a very, very fabulous script and something very different to look out for, and we're very excited about it. And as everyone knows, XL is like aces in the way they portray their web series, so something really good to look forward to. And that's as far as I'm concerned. So the web series for now. So these are all the projects happening amongst all of us.
And what about Kanguva? What do you think of that? It's the big
of
one.
Kanguva, Kanguva is of course not it's not film 2D, but
Suriya's.
it's definitely a family film again.
Of course.
That's phenomenal. It's something, I think I've said this earlier. It's a magnum opus which cinema is going to really witness. It's I've seen few rushes. I haven't seen the film, but what I've seen is like never seen before. So I'm eagerly waiting to watch the film too. And definitely, we are praying it gets the success it deserves.
And because you talk about Kanguva, it also takes me about the fact that how amazing was the end of the film where we had Mr. Kamal Hassan and Suriya.
Vikram,
Can we talk about Vikram's end, where we see it? I mean, what did you think of it as an actor? This is just like a conversation that I wanted to have with you anyway. No, because I was blown by that transformation.
No, it's great. In fact, Suriya, with all his, wholeheartedly did that for Kamal sir. Everyone's a huge fan of his, and I think everyone who acted in the film just wants to share that screen space. We actresses get to do it, right? Because we pair opposite them. But for actors to just be there and share that space, so it was all with all heart done for Kamal sir, and then it just happened to work big time for him. It's so I remember he knew nothing. He just went on the set and he said, I'm doing this for Kamal sir, and he just went there, and then it just worked out so brilliantly, and he was fantastic, very well thought of by Lokesh.
Absolutely. And that the Lokesh universe is expanding and everybody wants to know what's going to happen. But thank you for giving us that little thing that you knew about that story. I'm going to show you some pictures that I've collected. It's very simple, this segment. It's few pictures and memories that you have. Whatever you remember of that picture, and your first thing that comes to your mind, and there's a story behind, please share. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Shall I?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
This is this was a very tense day actually. It was North meeting South. It was our wedding day,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's exactly North meeting South. We have Surya's relatives and my family all mixed in together. But very important women in my life. So Lakshmi Akka, who's standing right next to me in the picture in the white sari, she was very, you know, instrumental in us even getting married. She was a very important family member for both of us.
You know, my favorite picture is this because I have a sister and I share a fantastic bond, and I know that you have shared that same with Nagma, and this is a queen fixing another queen's crown.
How sweet. But nothing like having sisters.
Yeah.
You know, we've always bonded, and they've been a guiding light
Yeah.
in their own ways, in every which way, and they still are. So,
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you this that I'm sure is going to bring back memories. I've really tried hard to get some pictures that are not available. So.
Oh, that's just when my daughter was born. And
Yeah.
this is a US trip, and with just some close friends. But these pictures, I think they were shared on Facebook or something, and then they just leaked out. But yeah, we made a US trip once every year. My
Correct.
sister was there. So these are those pictures.
There's one post, I'm sure you know this, that I think Suriya himself has shared, but I think it's a beautiful picture of you and the film.
Yeah, this was Jillan Ur Kadal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
When you
for-
think of the film, what does it take you back to?
Yeah, it was a special film actually. I mean, every film we've done is special, but this was, you know, just closer to our marriage date.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very cute. The husband and the wives beck and call.
But I love it, and he wrote it there also, you know, 14 years of Silunu Oru Kadal. I said
Yeah.
it right?
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, it's lovely. I'm going to just end it with one picture. I've already showed you the wedding, is the full family, and how happy you look.
Yeah.
I think you know, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Do you remember this moment?
I do. My entire family had to dress in pattu saris, which were the South saris, and they were all there. They were all very happy. They all knew Surya before marriage, and everybody was very happy with the decision. It was a very good, fulfilling moment. Oh my God! Yeah, that's Dad's movie actually.
Yeah.
It's his movie Aulad,
Aulad.
and we had Sridevi, Jayaprada, and Jitendra sir on this, and we had gone to see the shoot. And I've been an absolute introvert in my childhood days.
Okay.
So you can see that in the picture also.
Yeah. But so
what a
cute.
fan of hers we all are.
You remember
Huge
this
fan.
moment, don't you?
Of course I do. Of course I remember every visit to his shooting sets, and she was lovely. She spoke a lot to us, and I met her even post, you know, getting into South and speaking to her, and she's always been lovely. She always watched a lot of our films, so
Yeah.
we always got calls from her.
How fantastic. Okay. And because you said that, just to show everybody else, one more photo. It's super cute again.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Like we've all still kept in touch with Jaya ma'am. She's you know, whenever she's here, I've met her at all the award functions, and a couple of times we've even had meals together in the South when we bumped into each other. It's lovely. They're just too legendary.
Thank you. Through you, we went back to your memories. So thank you. I hope you liked it.
Thank you.
And to end it, it's a ritual that we do in the show. Dear Dad, any line you feel, doesn't have to be anything specific, can be a line. The last person wrote this. I'll tell you which actor this is. You can just write whatever you want and sign it off like a letter, like just whatever you feel.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Dear Dad, is it?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I end it, is it okay? Can I read it out loud or would you like to? Can I?
Yeah, no, please.
Okay. And this is what she says. Dear Dad, thank you for such a deep and candid conversation. Jyotika.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love it. I really enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you for really being so honest and continuing to inspire so many women in the film industry.
Thank you so much.
And sending you lots of love.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you
once
for
again.
having me.